Ladies, welcome to another episode of the Revitalized Womanhood podcast. I am joined by the lovely, you look beautiful, by the way, especially your beautiful Maori skin. It's like
So
you don't even
white.
have to try. Next to me, it's like, that girl white.
Yep, I went and pulled my table over, so it's like natural lighting. It's giving you the ambience that I'd done something when I didn't.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. This is my guest, Sharna Parker Brown. We're going to go with all the names just in case you ever can't find her under one. You have the other backup. I didn't steal her because she was first found off by my husband and his CEO over at M42 Adventures, and they wrangled her into recording with them because she is, believe it or not, an incredible fly fisherwoman. Okay, so the episode title is Womanhood on the Fly.
Oh, I see it now. Look at that.
Catchy.
It
Okay,
is.
yes, I'm just so clever.
Have you had a fisherman on your podcast?
What was that?
Have you had a fisherman on your podcast before?
I have not. I
Okay.
have had a wing shooter.
Wow, what is
Do you know
that?
what that is? Okay, so she shoots birds. She's
Okay.
a professional, competitive bird shooter.
What birds?
I have no idea. She's my friend. Her name's Anna V. She's a good friend. But honestly, it was awesome because I can talk to women about anything because we are all related under the same umbrella of womanhood, right? So it doesn't really matter where you're coming from. I can get down and we can have a good conversation about it because that's what it is, right? And it's my whole vibe for my podcast is basically women living intentional lives on purpose. Like choosing for yourself, not because your mom did it before you, so you think that that's what you do next, not because your neighbor does it, not because the women on Instagram do it, but you choose your life intentionally and live in it fully and on purpose. That is the name of the game here at Revitalized Womanhood.
Cool.
So when Rick told me about you, I was like, traveler, check. Badass mom, check. Fly fisherwoman, what? Cool. Awesome. I can get on board with this because I am a fisherwoman from Alaska as well. So I haven't even talked about you yet though, but I have before. No, I'm going to let you introduce yourself first. Is there anything I missed before we jump into the really fun lightning round? I've got the funnest questions. I was thinking about this as I was curling my hair today, which I don't do very often. So thank you for giving me a
Nice.
reason to actually try. And I came up with some really funny Kiwi versus America
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
questions. Yes.
It's gonna be fun. It was actually, yeah, I was thinking, oh, I actually have to get ready for this podcast because when I got ready with the boys, I was just like, okay, workout shirt, perfect. And I was like,
That's
oh,
kind of my vibe too, but you look beautiful. You even stepped it up. Like you're outdoing me.
well, thanks. I didn't. I just was like, oh, floral top. Look at this. And I was like, in the mirror, I was like, am I too girly right now? No, we'll be right. We'll be right.
Yep. Yep. We're here for all of it. We embrace it all.
See, because you're only
So
on my top, I could be in my pajama pants right now.
you could. I am technically in my workout
Yeah, I
shorts.
wore my
So
slippers the whole time when I was talking to the boys.
one time we were doing an episode, a recording. Oh, it wasn't an episode, it was a meeting. So for my women's community, we meet once a week on a Zoom call and get together and we talk about things. And I stood up and they're like, Gina, your pants are undone. And I'm like, oh, right. Yeah, sorry about that. So it was nothing too dramatic, but I did get called out.
But I get it. There'll
So
be some-
introduce yourself. What did I miss? Did I miss anything?
No, I don't think you did. Because you would have introduced me better than I would introduce myself.
Well, introduce
I
yourself.
would
Let's
say
hear that.
I,
How would you
yeah,
introduce
how would I
yourself?
introduce myself? I'm very new to introducing myself. I would say my name is Sharna Parker or Brown. I am a mother. I live in New Zealand. I'm from Taranaki, New Zealand. And my hobbies would be hiking and fly fishing.
I love it so much.
But I would say I would be known from everyone that didn't grow up with me as a fly fisherman. So
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, Rick, I'm sure he told you about where we live. It is like the hiking mecca of America. So
Yeah.
we live near Zion, which is incredible. So amazing.
yes, Rick showed me your cabin.
Oh, yes. I'm sure he
That's
did.
not a cabin, that's a castle.
Yeah. It's funny because it's actually not. It's like a tiny little cabin. So cute, but
But
it just
situated
happens
in
to be on a
Utah.
huge mountain.
Yeah, it's amazing. Because he he didn't even talk about it really. He just said, yeah, if you're ever in Utah, like you come stay at the cabin. And I was like, yeah, cool. Like shook it off. And he was like, yeah, I'll link it to you. And I was like, yep. And I was just like, got this link and I was just like, what? Isn't it Kevin?
It's no book a bok. Nope. It's
I
a
love that you call
legit.
it Book a Book too, because it's Book a
Yeah.
Batch.
Oh,
And
book a batch.
Rick did the same thing and he's like,
It's true because it's for bachelor pads, right? It was
yeah.
originally for the bachelors, so it is book a batch. But yeah, for us, we would always say we got called out on that so many times when we were there, and we're like, "Oh, sorry." But yeah, that's funny.
I was like, spell that. And then he spelled it. I was like, oh, batch. You mean batch. Cool.
I love it. Okay, I'm super excited to get into this because so for me, when we very first went to Australia, one of the things that I loved so much, I'm talking about Australia. This will come
I
back.
was just like, oh, yeah, that's a good bit of stuff.
Yeah. So when I first went, and they were saying all of these random words, right? They have all of these random words and sayings and
Australia
things, and
does
I'm
so.
just like, what? So I kept a list. I have a notepad and kept a list of all the random things that they would say with an equal sign of how it translates for an American. So it's like American to Australian dictionary, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it didn't happen so much in New Zealand, more for probably the reason we didn't see many people, honestly.
Okay.
Like, you know how it is. Like, we would get to a place and we would meet the people we were staying with, but along the way, other than say Auckland or
Gonna say Queenstown?
I'm gonna say Queenstown.
Yeah. Queenstown, real pretty.
Okay, I get Queensland and Queenstown.
Yeah.
I accidentally
Sorry.
say the wrong one. So other than those two big places where you were surrounded by lots of people, we didn't really run into many people that we would be like, oh, we had a connection enough that we were having conversation with, right? So anyway, so looking up these questions, I was laughing so hard because a couple of them I had to Google, like, what actually is that? Like, I had to Google it so that before I asked you, I at least knew what I was talking about. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. What's one American word that makes you cringe every time you hear it?
What
If you
is
say
that?
the one I'm thinking of, I'm going to laugh so hard.
I want to put it out there that my favorite accent in the whole wide world is American. So finding something that you guys say that annoys me would be so hard because every time you talk, I'm like, yeah, okay. And maybe it's because I've got R's in my name that I'm just like, yes, this is the best accent in the world. An annoying thing, I don't know.
Or
'Cause
hilarious. Something
Yeah.
that you're just, every time we say it, you're like, that's not what that means. Or
Oh yeah, egg flipper,
what?
like an egg flip. You guys
Oh,
call
a
it
spatula.
spatula.
I thought you were going to say aluminium.
Oh, that's another annoying one. Aluminum.
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 Actually, I was waiting for you to say fanny pack, but that is true. Okay. What'd you call it? An egg flipper?
You guys call it an egg flipper, don't we? We call it a spatula.
No, we call it a spatula. Who
Who
calls
said
it an egg flipper?
I feel like you guys call it an egg flipper because I would be like,
No,
"Where's
that's
the
even
spatula?" And
funnier.
then I would be like, what's a spatula?
That's
Americans
even
call,
funnier.
Americans call like everything has a name. Like New Zealanders, like will be like, oh, well, how could one word could mean three different things, but you'll name something three different times. And we're like,
Do you know what's funny about that is Rick and I were literally just having this conversation because he was showing me on the map where you are because he's the one that plans them. So he's better with the geography of it,
Yeah.
but I'm the one that remembers the names of things. And you repeat names. So it's so confusing. Like Oakura, that's in two different places on the North Island. There's one over by you and there's one up north, like way north above.
oh yeah, we do, and we call things like we've got
And
like
Rotorua.
well, yeah,
There's
because
two different Rotoruas.
No, so there's Rotorua in the North Island, which is actually pronounced Rotorua, and then there's one down the South Island called Lake Rotorua.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and she lived on a lake, so I assumed it was Lake Rotorua as well. Anyway, so that's funny that you say
Yes.
that because I saw that today. I'm like, why do they repeat these names? Did they run out of words? It's like the Hawaiian alphabet. They only have like 16 letters.
Yeah, well, that's the same with the Maori alphabet. Like there's certain ones that are in there as well. But in saying that, that has happened to me yesterday because a friend of mine was swimming at Onairo Beach, and I live by Onairo Beach, and it was raining by me, and I was like, it is freezing here. why are they swimming there? And then I looked, like, clicked their link, and they were somewhere else. I was like, oh, that makes more sense. Why are they?
That's perfect. Okay, next. What's your go-to I'm a woman in the wilderness power snack?
No, I'm a woman. What would I take fly fishing? Man, you've just stumped me. This is going to be me the whole time. I'd probably say if I was excited to pack something, it would probably be a protein bar.
Okay.
Just because I'd be like, oh, this is a treat.
Yeah. Yeah.
But normally if I was packing, and I always take too much food. And it's probably the only time that I get like, oh yeah, we'll make enough dinner for me to take food on the river too, rather than I normally have to cook it myself at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my partner always takes the leftovers for work.
Oh, right.
And then I'm like, oh no, I've got to have enough.
So what's your favorite thing to have on the river? Like what's your favorite thing that you're like, oh, it's going to be my day. I'm going to just be out here. It's me. What's your
make
for
a
yourself?
burger.
A burger?
Yeah, I like a cold burger, like the density of it changing. And it's something like really different to have it on the river.
Yeah. Oh, that is really different to have it on the river.
I quite like those things. But in saying that, I always hike with like a bottle of wine.
Oh, I love that. We can now be best friends.
Yeah, and everyone's like, well, that's so heavy. And I'm like, yeah, but when we've done the hike and I'm sitting there sipping on my red wine, you guys are going to be like, damn it, I wish I...
Yeah, that looks good. That looks pretty sweet. Oh my
I'll
gosh,
take things out so that I can fit the wine in too.
That's something I would do too. Like, no, I don't. A blanket?
No. Their socks? No. That's wine bottle though.
Wine? Yeah.
And I'm like putting the bottle in there too, and people are like, you can just like decanter it. I was like, it's not the same.
Yeah, we could be best friends now.
Yeah.
All right. What's the most unhinged thing that you've said out loud while losing a fish?
It would just be a whole lot of swear words.
Are your swears the same as our swears?
Yeah. No, ours are worse. I remember saying like, because in Australia, because I lived in Australia for a couple of years, they use the C-bomb, which I can spell it out for you, but if I say it to you, Americans are so picky on this.
My heck, we've been watching Mobland and they say it all the time, and Rick and I are just like, the F word is one thing, but the C word, that's totally another. It is like, just, it like shocks us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things that's like.
And I think and I think the only country that can relate is Australia. Because it's not a Kiwi thing, because I'll say it in the house, like, and my partner Wyatt, he'll be like, don't say that word. I was like, what word?
Just
and I'm like,
comes
I'm
out.
so sorry, because he hadn't lived in Australia, so it isn't like in his bones.
Yeah.
But I would say it in the States all the time, and it was just like a shocker.
I can imagine. But you know what? In Alaska, I can see that being less shocking just because you are around a different breed of people in Alaska. Yeah. But yeah, you come to the mainland and it's like, yeah, that's a little shocking to hear randomly passing lakes.
So I'd say that if I lose a fish, because I normally fish by myself, you're like, oh, what the hell did you do, you stupid?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You know what? That's probably therapeutic, honestly. That would be I think of that as isolated in the best kind of way, right? Where you can just, because I talk to myself a lot. I'll go on walks and I'll just play out scenarios in my brain, and all of a sudden I'll stop and be like, oh, I wonder how many people just noticed I've been just talking to myself this whole time. So sometimes I'll hold my phone up even and just be like, I'm not talking to myself. No, really. But that would be like a good kind of isolation, that feeling of being on the river. And I can say whatever I want. I can scream. I can sing. I can do, like, that's a lot of freedom there.
It is. It is. It's also got that like little slight thing where your brain goes a little bit scared because you're completely by yourself. And I was fishing with my son one day, and I knew we were by ourselves, and he was on my back, and he's like, I see a man. And I was like, what? Huh? And he's like, I see that man. You say that man? And I was like, what man? What man? Like, what man? And he's like, that man on your hat. And I was like, oh my
gosh.
What man? And I was just like, you gave me a panic attack.
Right. I legit.
Why is there a man?
Yeah, I legit put, because I had a gal on here. It's a good listen if you want to go back and find it. But her name's Amy Robbins, and she's part of the NRA, and like she speaks out for women carrying weapons while they're jogging and stuff. So she actually, to the point where she designed a fitness line for women like Lululemon, but it's for concealed carry.
Wow.
So I bought a pair of the shorts and the waistband legit, because I'm like, how can you jog with a gun?
I'm like,
Like,
cow.
no. And it is like, right, it's there. And so, anyway, I had a situation which I've never felt unsafe where we are ever. And something happened on Sunday, and I was with my little girl, my baby. She's 4 months old, it unnerved me to the point I called the police
Oh,
and had them come and look for this suspicious vehicle. And so after that, I was telling Rick, I'm like, I need to carry, I don't want to because I'm not totally comfortable with it yet. I would like to get better. But so from every day since, I've taken my pepper spray with me. But I was
I've
like,
been randomly thinking about this stuff lately too.
you
It
never
is.
know. With New Zealand, did Rick tell you we were there when the Christchurch happened?
Yeah, I said the most major tragedy that we've ever had in you guys.
Yes, and that's what I mean is New Zealand is not known for any kind of really, like, it seems like you would feel very comfortable being where you are because you're not
Yeah, and
necessarily on the map for these kinds of things. But we happen to be there for this one moment in history
yeah.
and catapulted you all to the most dangerous country in the world.
I did it.
Like, it was so shocking. It was so shocking that this one moment, but I mean, it's since
But
gone,
it
right?
must have persisted, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
You
it
gave
goes,
them
it's,
different people. If they included the sheep, it wouldn't have been.
right. Exactly. Exactly.
But yeah, I remember that happening. Yeah, it's not. I think it's definitely a motherhood thing. I wasn't really ever scared when I was. It's not that I'm scared by myself. It's the moments that I'm with my child that I'm scared. Because
100%.
it's like, you're putting it's like the mother bear instinct. Where I'm by myself, if something dodgy's happening, I'm like I'll be like running with Riker in the pram when he was little, and then be like, if someone was to, and it is a reinforced fear from my mum because she's really like, oh, don't go down that way, or like that my whole life. So it's kind of probably got that. But I'm just thinking, if someone was to attack me now, like I'd be happy to go with them. I would just say, cool, can I just ring someone to pick up my son? Like let's go
Right.
with let's be honest here. I don't
Yeah.
mind the outcome but can we call someone? Because I'm not going to
I'm
bring
at
in.
the age now that they're just stopping for my baby. That's all they want. They don't want me.
Oh,
They want my baby. I've crossed over into the age where they're like, you're fine to stay, but we're stealing your child.
child, this is what
So
I'm like.
I have to be very strategic. I think about, like, would I tip the stroller over? How can I make this as hard as possible for these men to get away with my child? Yeah, I totally run things through my head scenario wise like that
Yeah,
because it's a totally different situation when you have something that you need to protect.
yeah. I wonder if men have that same feeling.
Oh, Rick runs through every scenario possible. We have secrets, and I don't know if I should say them, not that anybody's listening really, that I don't know, but we have our own, like, because he can't carry in different countries, right? He
Oh yeah.
can't. So we got to get creative. The first time we were out of the country, honestly, there were a few spots where the kids were 2 and 4 when we went. And so this was probably a year into it, maybe 3 or 4 and 6, 7-ish, whatever. And he would say, don't speak, nobody talk, because we didn't want them to hear the American accent.
Oh,
We
okay.
didn't want them to know we were Americans.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was probably during Trump's first run. I think it was, where it was like, we don't want to be Americans in this neighborhood right now,
Okay.
And
Yeah.
nothing ever happened, but it was something that he thought about, that he was like,
So he's got
you
yeah.
know,
I'd say that probably American men are thinking more like that. I say New Zealand men are pretty blasé about it all. I
because
remember my American
they
ex.
look like nobody wants to make a move against them.
Well, we all know somebody that knows somebody, and they're like, "Oh no, I don't get them." But it's like that. It's like, but it was crazy when I lived in the States, how we're like, I don't like our police officers don't even carry, you know.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I don't even know if they're allowed them they used to be able to have them in a lockbox in the back of their car, but it takes one policeman to shoot one person in this country and it will revoke everything. So
Well,
like
and
I
that's
think
what happened after the Christchurch thing, is they collected everybody's guns.
but they
Yeah.
did but that was kind of a stupid move in a way because the only people that gave up their guns were the honest people, right? all
Well,
the
that's how it
gangs.
is in America too. That's what the
Yeah,
whole fight is about. That's what the whole stupid fight is about. The people that have them legally, you knew to come to get the guns, right? Not in
yeah,
Utah or Texas because they don't know how many we all have.
yeah,
But
exactly.
the people who register their weapons, they know where to go get them. But nobody that's using them in a violent way is
It's registered.
registering them.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we
Yeah.
were. That's what most people were like. No, I don't think. I think a lot of the country didn't ever
Yeah.
give them up. And I mean, heaps of people have unregistered guns. But in America, I just say that was just it's just a losing battle. You
Yeah,
know,
it is.
the guns
That's
back.
we're totally
They're
divided
everywhere.
now. It's a you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't for everything. I swear in this country right now. It's unfortunate. It's you can't do one thing without having people. And that's a big part of womanhood, actually. A big part of womanhood in America is you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, and that's kind of been the theme for generations. And so when I started Revitalized Womanhood 3 years ago, I was like, yeah, I want to change the narrative of, it seems like we're so one way or the other through history, right? It's either this or that. And it's if you're not this, you're being criticized for it. If you're not that, you're being condemned or damned for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus now it's like, what do you want? What do you think is right for you? What do you think is right for your family? What do you think is right for this season of your life? And go with that because it really doesn't matter what anything else is. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. It doesn't matter what anyone else. And so that's kind of the narrative that I'm trying to push. And it's interesting that I have a woman that's like, say, 78 years old in my community versus a woman that's 20 years old in my community.
So amazing.
And yeah, it's amazing that they're both, you would think that they wouldn't have things in common, but they are both connected in this desire to start this narrative, to encourage
That'd be
this
so
narrative.
listen to.
Yeah,
Especially
it is
somebody
really interesting.
like your grandparents. The generation has changed so much. The
Right.
generation's changed so much between me and my sisters. So I have an 18-year-old sister and a 21-year-old sister, and they are so
Wow.
different to me.
Wow.
So different, like because they've grown up with iPads and the amount of emotion you're allowed to have.
Yeah.
Where I
Right.
was growing
That
up,
you're allowed to have. That's so true.
oh man, I'm just like the woke movement is just unwoke for me. Like, please
Okay,
just
that's
everyone
hilarious.
settle down before my son is at that age where I'm just like, what is going on? Like, what's happening?
You'll figure that out. You're the mom, you'll figure that out. You will, I
Yeah.
promise.
But I'm like, but yeah, so they're in the very woke area, especially even between my 21-year-old sister and my 18-year-old sister. And I love them to bits and we get along so well together. But like my 18-year-old sister and me, like dating wise, couldn't be further away from each other if we tried.
Right.
Yeah, or like that's just crazy. I'm just like
Well, and
generation
that's
away from
probably what people older than us thought about us in our time as well. I imagine that's what I kind of try to tell myself, like because I have my nieces that are posting stuff and I'm just like, oh, that's so, I don't even say cringe, but they do. So it's like, that's so cringe,
Yeah.
right? That's so, it's like, it makes me go, really? But I think back to when I was that age and my older sisters were probably thinking the same thing about me, right?
Yeah, you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. I think the people older, and it just is relative for what your generation is at that time. So like my
Yes.
husband, like Rick, he'll talk about his parents were like, oh, you can't play on that Nintendo. You can't. That'll
Yeah.
rot your brain,
Yeah,
or don't
sure.
stand by the microwave. It'll give you cancer. Whatever it was, I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah, I guess.
the
yeah.
level is so different than, but I try to think like that. Maybe, I don't know, whatever. Take it what
Yeah,
you will.
well, I've never really thought about it like that. I always thought they were so different from me, but I didn't realize maybe I'm so different from my mum was. Where I guess we're a lot like in respects out like my dressing would be a lot more showier than my mum's dressing was. But then that's what I think. But then I go through all the like traveling photos and she's in the exact same outfit. There's just the trend goes
Yeah.
round and round, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just the trend goes round and round, but all of it, everyone's emotions didn't go round and round so much. We weren't entitled to be cats.
Yeah. It's true. It's so weird. It's so weird. Oh, okay. Let's get back to a couple of the funny ones. Cause I have so many. I swear this could go on and on and on because
Yeah,
I
good.
have
Let's look up
actual
all
like legitimate questions for you, but I have some really funny ones here. Like, who wins the snack game? Pineapple lumps or Reese's peanut butter cups?
pineapple
What the
lumps.
hell? What the hell is a pineapple lump?
Oh my God, you didn't try pineapple lumps when you were over here?
No, but now I need to try it.
Yeah, and they even get better if you put them in the freezer.
Okay, I have no idea
Like
what it
because
is. So
they're really
explain what it
chewy.
is.
I don't know what you guys had that was chewy. That would be like similar. Do you guys have Buzz bars? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. You'd
No.
like Busy Bee bars.
Oh, is it like a bit of honey or something? Like a chewy
It's kind of chewy. Like the texture would be chewy, right?
and it's flavored like a pineapple?
Chewy and marshmallowy, but not marshmallow. It's
Ew.
different. It's weird.
You
But
lost me. Okay, now I really have to try it. So
yeah.
you would choose pineapple lumps over Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah, but then in saying that, if you were going to say white chocolate Reese's peanut butter cups, then we might have a little bit because I don't like the
Okay.
chocolate over Reese's Pieces, but when they changed it to white chocolate, then it was good.
Okay, I'm with you. I like that too. All right, I'm with you. All right, here's the next one. This is the one I had to Google, shockingly. Why do Kiwis act like jandals are acceptable footwear for literally any occasion, even weddings?
I don't agree with it. I don't.
So now explain to everybody what a jandal is.
So
I just told Rick.
a jandal, which is so funny because in Australia they call it a thong, and in New
Right.
Zealand we call a thong like undies, like a G-string.
Right.
So
Like America.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So we call ours
they're
flip
basically
flops.
G-strings that go between your big toe and your next toe, whatever that identifies as, and and then it just hooks. So we're going like this. Oh, where's my toe? So we're upside down. We can't do this. Help in. So it goes like from here down to here and then down to there. Or the foot
So
fetish,
flip flops.
or the foot fetish people are getting on that.
Yeah, they are. That's gonna
Oh,
get
my
our
goodness,
ratings.
pay
That's
anyone
gonna
for that.
get us so many more downloads.
Yeah, only only foot.
Okay, so they're just flip flops.
They're just flip flops. They're exactly what they are. But I
Okay.
own a pair of them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like
That's
a
hilarious.
Yeah, the
The
blow.
way it explained it when I Googled it was more of like a Japanese. And so I was thinking more of the
Okay.
boxy, the
Yeah,
boxy ones like the
They've got a
Japanese.
box and then it's like material.
That's so funny. Okay. Be honest, do Americans really sound like we're yelling all the time, or is that just the accent?
Yeah, every yelling. Yeah, because we would call it obnoxious.
I sound like I'm yelling
No,
all
not
the
you.
time.
But
I
it's-
do. I totally do.
But
That's
like-
I am so animated, but that's like a Utah thing. I think that's a Utah thing.
You can pick an American traveler. Being a traveler, you can pick an American traveler without picking an American traveler. Like you just have to be. Everyone's on a bus. The Americans are the loudest, and like they're
My
just-
husband is without a doubt the loudest. Without a doubt. We will be in a restaurant eating and I'm just like, everybody in this restaurant is part of our conversation. His voice is just like boisterous.
But I'd say Kiwis are pretty loud. But I guess that's because that's where you are. But no, Americans, you definitely stand out. But
That's
to
awesome.
people that don't like Americans, I'd be like, ugh, and I'm just like, what did that guy say?
Yeah, you're interested in it.
Like straight away, like, huh?
Do you know what's funny is I couldn't have picked out, I mean, I don't think Rick could have. I could have deciphered between English, like British and Australian. Like I can tell the difference. But I couldn't, when we very first started traveling, I couldn't tell the difference between Australian and New Zealand. I can now because I pick up the things.
They got a line.
But it's funny. Can you tell the difference between like say Canadians and Americans?
Yeah, a little bit. I would say Canadians have the whinier voices.
Whinier?
There's like a little whine in, like, I was trying to explain this to everyone in the States because they'd always call me Australian. I'm not whiny, but they've got this little whine in their voice. They must extend some words somewhere, and that's where I can figure it.
So it's like a tone. It's not even the words they're saying.
Yeah, no, it's just a tone, and I
Because
think
like Canadians, they say a, and
A.
like things
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. But so I can tell the difference because of those things, but I've never thought about it as that they hang on to sounds. So I'm gonna have to listen now. One of my members lives in Canada. She's Canadian. She's in Alberta. So I'm going to have to listen to her now. Like, she says a lot, so I get that part of it, but it's so fun. I love it all.
But I guess if you
Okay.
put us all next to each other, you could tell. I don't even class British in our accent. They're so clean.
Well, some of them. You've got Cockney ones that are just like, what?
They're like, I feel their wording is more cleaner than ours. And Australia, you can tell in Australian because they'll shorten every word.
They shorten everything. Macca's. Every word.
Probs.
Dub, dub, dub. I'm like, was it really hard to say www? Dub, dub, dub. Dub, dub, dub. When we first heard that, I was like, what? Do they have a different like web search engine? Dub, dub, dub. I'm like, what? And Rick's like, www. I'm like, my gosh, my golly, they do. They abbreviate everything.
Yeah, they do everything. Like everything definitely is dead. And because my best friend's Australian, so we'll just be talking and I'm like, what can you shorten? You can shorten everything.
Do you know what the funniest thing that my bestie's in Minnesota, and the funniest thing she says that we say is heck. Oh my heck.
Oh my heck.
Oh my heck.
Australians always use, you know how Canadians are saying a at the end of the sentence?
Right.
But Australians used to always say hey.
Hey, they do. They say hey. Like
That's
right.
good.
We say right. Like right.
Oh, right.
Like
Yeah.
at the end of, I was doing it a lot in my podcast episodes. I noticed it. My solo episodes, right? Like I'm waiting to,
Yeah,
like
you
I'm
do always
asking
say
a
that.
question. Everything I'm saying, I say right. And that's him saying, hey.
Yeah,
How you
but
doing,
if
hey?
you think about saying right, you're pretty much being like, so if they were leaning towards one way or the other, when you say right, they're like, yeah, right, yeah. But when Australians are saying hey, I'm always like, hey, hi?
Hi.
Hey?
This is so funny. I promise, ladies, we're going to get to this episode. This is so funny. This is so interesting to me. What's something Americans obsess over that Kiwis are like hard pass?
Oh, guns.
Oh, well, there you go. That is totally. I was thinking more on the lines of like pumpkin spice latte,
Yeah,
or
you guys, if I was going to
college football, but yeah, guns. That's
yeah. If I was going to give you guys a taste, it's cinnamon.
cinnamon.
Yeah, you guys, you make the worst bread in the world could ever be made. It's in America, and cinnamon. Everything tastes like cinnamon. Cinnamon, everything.
I had to get really used to in New Zealand and honestly, I've never had it better than in New Zealand is lamb.
Oh yeah, well we better be the best.
Right. It's so good. Like us trying to find ground beef, which you guys call
mince
meat,
Yeah.
right? And that was so hard for us. But so we started eating lots of lamb because of course that's normal. That's like your guys' main thing, and never had it better since then. So good.
Oh, that's good. That's why you guys are coming back.
No, oh my gosh, we're so excited to come back. So excited.
I mean, you guys
Okay.
used to call mince burger too, just like
Burger. Yeah.
burger. And I'm like,
Mhm.
what do you mean? Like, are we having burgers? Like,
Yeah.
no, burger meat. And I was like patties? Like, what are we talking?
That was so hard for us.
Oh, mince.
Yeah, mince. That was so hard for us to figure out. We're like, oh, they don't even have hamburger. They don't even have it. Like, we couldn't figure it out. And someone was finally like, it's called mince. We're like, oh, okay. So we got to look for the actual thing that you call it. I got it. All right. Okay. I think we made it through. Oh, here's the last one. On a scale from meh to cringe, how do you feel about Americans calling the All Blacks a rugby team instead of a national treasure?
Oh,
Oh my gosh. I just love their little dance. It's just so yum.
it's a war dance.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I think everybody. They definitely put us on the map.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, they put us on the map so that some countries knew, and then cricket put us on the map for India because India probably didn't know who we were until the cricket came on. The moment you see an Indian, they're like, "Oh, you watch cricket?"
And you're like, no, do you?
Well, absolutely not. No, it's the one thing I'm not allowed on the TV in our house.
I
Yeah.
had to tell Rick what it was. I'm like, it's kind of like baseball, I guess, but
Like
not.
Warrior.
Yeah.
And
Like,
it's like 6 days. Yeah, my partner really likes watching sport, and I don't mind other sports being on the TV. I'm just like more of a go to the sports game kind of watcher, or like
yeah.
I know him. But if it's just sports on the TV, I'm like, oh no, and I'll just like go around to another room. But if I'm walking and cricket's on, I'm like, no, turn that off. Absolutely not. It's got to be a stand somewhere, and that's where my stand is.
That's my sand. Okay, that's your line in the sand. I got it. So and I'm not going to say this word right, but from Alaska to AOT. Is that where you're from? How do you say that? I'm going to tell you all in America, this is how it's spelled. AOTEAROA. So beautiful. The language is so beautiful, but we cannot.
No, I don't know. Well, my friend from America, she can't roll her R's, so maybe that's a thing.
I'm sure that's
a lot
a thing.
Of rolling. That's why Spanish and New Zealanders, Maori can speak can pick it up a little bit easier because they roll, and so do we.
Yeah, I love it. It's we don't do. We hit our R's so hard. It's like
well, I like it. Like when Americans say river or Sharna, I'm just like, okay, here we are. But mine, it's like the R is silent in New Zealand. Shana. I'm like, where's the R?
That's not my name. Your fly fishing journey began during a holiday in Alaska in 2017. Is that right?
Yep.
And what was that about, your experience that ignited your passion and shaping your path forward since then?
Oh, well, I always liked fishing. So fishing had always been around, I wouldn't even have called it a passion or a hobby. But in saying that, I was always trying to get where people were fishing. And I wouldn't even say it was because I wanted to catch fish. It was just, I don't know, I just like the whole experience. But Alaska, and funnily enough, that my life went this way, because when I went to Alaska, my friend's wedding, where she lived and what she done was commercial fishing boats. So she'd be on the big net boats, and they'd be working hard and covering fish slime all day. And I was like, yeah, that's where I want to be.
No thanks.
I went into the other town, and I stayed in the other town, which was all the rich fly fishing people, and I just felt like such a disconnect to them. I was just like, oh, this is so not where I'm meant to be. And then now I'm like, yeah, that's my spot.
So what city were you in Alaska where she was working off the boats?
So no city. So the town is called Naknek. It's on the Bristol Bay, it's in Bristol. But you fly into a town called King Salmon. That's where the airport is, and there's only one road that connects King Salmon to Naknek. It's just a straight road.
Cool.
And it's 20 minutes, I believe. It might be more, but they just disconnect each other. And the only way in and out is a plane or a really long boat ride.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun. Okay, that's awesome. I want to look that up. Excuse me. I'm surprised I wasn't thinking to look that up as well, because we're also we have our fishing boat in Alaska. So
you have it in
we
Kenai,
know Alaska. Right? We have it, but it's actually below Kenai. So Soldotna, the Kenai's are at Soldotna, but we're down in Homer, so it's about an hour and a half.
So my friends own a taco shop in Homer.
What?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
Let's Google it. Taco shop in Homer. Let's Google it. Hang on, everybody. They're like, Gina Googling food. Shocker.
So this is a friend that I went to. The reason why I was in Alaska, it's called Swell Taco.
Swell Taco.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I know exactly where it is.
Yeah, so
they serve wine.
Oh, do they?
Exactly. Yeah. So where they are, so their little patio. Okay, I'm going to show you. So this little patio right here.
Yeah.
So they're in a long strip of shops, and this little patio right here is adorable because they've got big toys for the kids to play with, like little rider buggies for the kids to play in, like tic-tac-toe stuff. So because we take our kids here to get the hot mini donuts.
Oh, okay.
And then there's an ice cream shop right here next to it, and then there's a treasure shop next to it that has all these great really nice, when you go somewhere and you want to get a souvenir and it's crappy junky stuff, the shop next to this is really nice good stuff. Yeah, so, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Yes, I know exactly that shop. I know exactly.
Their names are Millie and Mike.
Oh my gosh, we're so hitting them up next month.
Yeah, you'll have to go in there and then ask if Millie or Mike are there, or the owners, and then if they do, then say you know me. They'll be shocked.
That's so cool. So this is exactly why we love travel. This right here is exactly the networking and the getting to know people from different countries and all over the place. It's so much fun. I love it. Oh my gosh. So as a Maori woman, oh sorry, go ahead.
Carry on.
No, are you good?
No, you were saying how why fly fishing grabbed me.
Well, Yeah, why? Why?
I would
Because you
say,
said you didn't feel connected to those kind of people.
yeah, but then I got into the mix and I was like, oh wow, this is great. I say that I loved it at the start, and then I started dating a guy from America that was a fly fishing guide. And so then now you're immersed into it, right? Now it's just
Hmm.
your thing. And then
Yeah.
when I was over in Alaska and I wouldn't say I was good at fly fishing at that point. I realized how many spots I'd been to around the world that I could have fished at. And then I didn't even know fly fishing was good in New Zealand. And it's like a pinnacle of places that people want
Yeah.
to come, right? And I'd lived
Hmm.
here my whole life. And had no idea. And then I
I was
seen
gonna say, did your boyfriend say that? He's like, you don't know all
well, he
these
wasn't my
spots?
boyfriend. He wasn't my boyfriend at the time, and I probably had heard it from every person there because everybody would have known. And I was like, no, I had no idea. But someone posted a picture of a fish in my region,
Hmm.
and then I was like, whoa, hold on, now we're talking. And so I like had messaged him and said, hey, I learned how to fly fish in Alaska, and I never knew there was any fly fishing here. Blah blah. Do you mind if I come fishing with you one day? And then I went fishing with them, found out about the local streams, went and worked at a lodge one year, and then worked at another one another year, and then now here I am. Very and
I wanna slow that down. I wanna make this connection because actually this is really, really important because the monthly topic. So in my community, we work on a monthly topic and we have a book that goes along with it each month. So last month, comparison. This month, your next bold move. So I am motivating, encouraging all of these women, like, what is your next bold move? Like, I'm not here to just like meet up and talk about the weather. We are here to change our mindsets or change or get goals done or whatever it is, right? We want results. We want to take action in our lives because that's the whole point of intentional living is I'm going to take action in my life. So I love the fact that you went from not even knowing that New Zealand was the mecca of fly fishing to okay, I kind of think this is kind of cool in Alaska, another place, then finding out that it's something that's really cool where you're at and the steps you're taking to create the momentum behind this is something I truly love now. You maybe it wasn't going to be, but you were still taking steps towards finding out if it was going to be. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you just harnessed intentionality to its finest
yes.
and made it your biatch.
Yeah, true. I never ever looked at it like that. I was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. And then actually moved my whole life to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So I'm talking to these women in my community and we're talking about things like things that I'm not belittling. These are big changes, scary things if you think about them in that way, like moving to a different place or what was another one? Changing a career, something that you've been doing your whole life and it's like you hate it. Now you want to change a career, right? So these are big things. However, if you can just and I think some people must be more inclined to just kind of go with it and just think the next step, the next step, the next step. Because that's what I'm telling them is like, you don't have to see the whole staircase, right? You just need to see the next step. Like, what's the next step going to mean for me? And that's what I'm hearing from you. And that's incredible because just what if you would have not liked fly fishing?
Yep.
After you'd worked at a lodge, after you'd figured it out, what would you have done then?
Found something else.
Right. It's not that dramatic, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't really like doing this. You see, so you have this scale of people who are multi-passionate. You know, the people like I have a friend that every 2 weeks she's starting a new business. I can't keep up, right? I'm like, oh, wait, what happened to the last business? She's like, I got bored of it. I'm starting a new one, right? So you have that over here on this end of the scale versus this end of the scale that they don't even dare to think about what something different might look like because it's too scary and full of what ifs, right? So how do we bridge the gap for those kind of people?
I would love to bridge that gap because my partner is a 9 to 5, like 9 to 5, Monday to Friday,
Secure.
like that person, and I'm like let's just quit our job and go buy a van and do it up and travel America for like 2 years, and he's like, oh, absolutely not. And I'm just like, why? Like, why not?
That's what I mean. Okay, so how do we get into the psyche of these people? So that's what we're working on this month. actually is. And it's so interesting too, because the women who were saying, okay, my next bold move is, say, moving to this new state, right? So this is a big move. That's my next bold move. But at the end of the 1 hour call, she had determined, well, wait a minute. I think my next bold move, actually, the thing under the thing under the thing, is that I need to get control of the fear that every time I take a step towards doing the thing to move, I get crippled in anxiety because I'm like, yeah. So now her next bold move, instead of the actual move, is I have to get control of my mindset around this.
Where I was just thinking, are the people that are more like me that are like, oh, I'm not gonna make that business, I'm not gonna buy that house, I'm not gonna get that job, the ones with commitment issues, and then the other ones that are working 9 to 5 are the ones that don't have commitment issues. You know, like, because I would say I'd be like that person that was like always like, nah, that sounds like forever, and like we're good, and then go on to the next. So I've always taken that sounds a bit. I always took jobs that I knew I could easily quit. I'm just like,
I wonder if there's something to that, because that's super interesting to think about, because my husband, he's not like this at all anymore, but when he was up until he was 25, he would work a job just long enough to get one paycheck to be able to go and like take a girl to California or something. So that's interesting. That's a thought. Okay.
Yes, maybe it's like I only got jobs where I'm like, cool. Okay. So my thought was like, cool. I'm going to trip around the US when I'm 21, and I've got this many months to make this much money. And so I'll be like, cool, I'll move to Australia, I'll work this far, and I'll save that much money. I'll quit my job, I'll go travel, and then I'll come back and I'll get a different job to do a different trip.
Yeah.
Like
so being Maori had nothing to do with fly fishing then?
No, nothing.
That's not like a cultural thing.
No, it isn't at all, actually, because the fish are both introduced. So if you were going to go to, if I'm guessing if it was Maori, like anything to do Maori, it would have been like all the native trout, and I'd be on the movement to get rid of the invading species and populate the native trout. So that's a movement, right?
Yes. Okay.
It's one of those things where you got colonized, and then they were like, wow, well, actually, we're from Scotland, and they don't really have those fish we used to fish for in Scotland, so let's bring them over.
Right.
And make what we just came to new exactly like it was at home. You know, that's what New Zealand, that is how New Zealand is New Zealand, because there was no predator species at all. It was like full bird life. So when I think of it, I think like Costa Rica is like full of bird life, and I'm just like, that's imagining what New Zealand was like. And then they're like, oh, let's bring rabbits over here because we used to hunt in England. So then they let all these rabbits go, and then rabbits do what rabbits done. So they're overpopulated. And then so they're like, well, we'll bring stoats in to kill those. And then, now we've got to bring something to kill that, and then kill that. And so now we've got predators.
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. You're right. That is,
and the same with the fish. The trout are killing the natives, so.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. So how do people, is there any kind of a cultural, not uprising, that's a little dramatic, but because where we stayed, where Rick was fishing, which I keep telling him was Taupo, and he says no, but where we were fishing, it was like a full-on trout farming community.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they were there, like trying to pump more trout in.
Yeah, well, I wonder if because like the middle of the country is Taupo, and it's got the big lake, and that feeds all the river systems over there, and they're just like got an abundance of rainbow trout and browns.
Right.
But yeah, and so people go over there harvesting. It's kind of like the harvesting area to get.
Right.
Because
but that's what I mean is that so, okay, for example, for just how my mind is working, for example, in Hawaii on the North Shore, they are so upset about the building on the land that is the beautiful natural whatever land. So there's lots of signs everywhere that's like, stop this, stop letting them do this, blah blah blah. So is there anything like that with the Maori that's like, stop doing this, stop populating something, let's get back to what our natural our country is?
I believe there was and I don't know a thing about it, but I do remember there was a movement to try and get trout out of certain rivers so that they could repopulate it with the natives. But I didn't read into it too much. And being a trout fisherman, I'm just like, no. But
Well, and I can't imagine, can't imagine that it's like anything with politics now. You can't have an extreme thought like that anymore. You know what I mean? You have too many people that will oppose it.
yeah, I get that. I guess it would work both ways, right? You're allowed so much thought that now they're like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. It's like America. You'd have a 50-50 split. It's like nobody's going to be swayed to hear the other side, even to be able to be swayed, because they're just like, nope, you're wrong. I'm right, you're wrong.
But
we can't get into that.
I should actually look into that more so that I bring more takes. I got a few people because I'd work at lodges, and like majority of the people are like, they're overseas, they're foreigners, New Zealanders,
yeah,
stuff themselves. So they would be like, oh, so because you're Maori, do you get like to fish for free? I was like, I wish. No. You would think this is my land, but no, it isn't.
Well, actually, there was something going on while we were there that was a huge, huge thing going on, was pesticides. Actually, that was a big deal that was happening over by Hokitika, especially. We were staying, it was very, very like not a lot of buildings, because I remember the one
nothing
buka batch we found. Yeah, it was like the one we found. It was it, and it was on their house, and they had their greenhouse, and they're very into keeping everything non-toxic, I guess is what they were calling it. But it was huge. Everybody was against the pesticides at that time. Is that what it was? Pesticides?
Like in that like movement to be able to unless you're someone that follows movements, I wouldn't have a clue. But I mean, we want to make everything natural, but I was talking like, you want to get everything organic and natural, but the unorganically unnatural like vegetables that we grow, you can barely afford. So no one can afford the organic stuff.
Well, not even that, but oh my gosh, I was telling my husband, I was out at my best friends in Minnesota, which is a lot of farmland and a lot of agriculture, right? Where a lot of our produce comes from. And the fields were just like gorgeous. It was that time of year where they were just full and lush and green and like getting ready to fruit. And I was like, they're beautiful. Well, then all of a sudden you'd look over here and this field was like dead and like barely sprouting. And I'm like, what's up with this field? This farmer obviously didn't know it was organic. 100% it was organic. So there was like nothing in this field, and I'm going, what? This is just so backwards. This is so ass backwards to me. And I'm no politician. I don't get into it, but still, I just think, well, this side is making lots of yummy food and this side is making no food.
Yeah.
And you're paying 5 times as much for it because it made no food. So it's supply and demand. There's only one ear of corn versus an entire field. It's like, okay, so you're paying for that one ear of corn not because it's organic, but because it happens to be the only ear of corn
that's organic.
That's not sprayed. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Yep. I don't go into that stuff because I think my views are, I'm not like you're wrong and I'm right, but I do think that I am legitimately a logical thinker.
Yeah. I never really get into much things, like especially politics, because I don't understand it enough to, it'd probably be a winning thing, right? So you'd get into an argument to win naturally. And if you don't know too much about the subject that you're talking about, why keep talking about it?
Right, exactly. 100%. Sorry, we probably went too far on that. I mean, that probably went down a wrong road, and I probably should have reeled that back. I probably should have reeled that back in.
But
anyway,
I do like that about Americans, you guys. It's like there's always a debate somewhere in a conversation. I'm just like watching it, like, yeah, maybe.
Even if there shouldn't be one, there's always one.
Like, yeah, keep going. What are we doing? Just drinking.
Yeah. Turn it into a drinking game every time the blonde white girl says something. You take a drink every time.
Then I can't even because everyone's just like, wow, what did she say?
Yeah. So how do you guys find balance in your relationship where you said that your partner is very much likes structure, likes routine, likes to feel the safety of having those things. How do you find balance in that?
Yeah, well, it's crazy because that's what I would say at the start was something that, like, not red flag, but it like felt like, oh no. Um, it's the first relationship I've really felt a yin and a yang, the yin and yang feeling, where he's so structured and is so smart and being an adult. He's such an adult, and I'm such a child that like we balance each other out because I bring out the kid in him and he brings out the adult in me, which I'm just like, ugh. But he knows I don't like it, so it kind of like it's really like, babe, this is what you're meant to do, and I'm just like, are you meant to do it though?
Right.
So I bring him out as in like he is so funny. He would like every room in the house is what it's meant to be for. Very American of him. Where
That's the office. No toys allowed in there.
I remember being like, can you bring me in a coffee? And he's like, well, in bed. I was like, yeah, in bed. He's like, no, I'll put it in the kitchen. You can come out in the kitchen. I'm like, no, you're going to, I remember getting up, getting it, bringing it. What are you doing? And then saying that he's not a traveler. So as a traveler, you're normally stuck in a cardboard box of a house with somebody else, and like your bedroom becomes your everything room, like, right? Especially if you don't like the person.
If you're even lucky enough to be in a house, like it could be your car.
Exactly. So you're so used to living in that room is everything. So like
he'd probably have a heart attack if he traveled with us. I mean, our car on a road trip is the toilet, is the kitchen, is the bedroom, is the
he's everything.
Good now. The entire house.
But he was like and it's good. He's just funny. He's funny how he works. But like he's good camping and stuff. But he'll just say things like he's very old school. I'd say an old soul because it's like the old soul where, you know, you eat at the table and don't wear your shoes inside and like really like that structure, which my son has. And then I'm just like, he'll be like, can I have a toy at the table? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, Dad said no. And I was like, yeah, Dad's all right. I'm always like, I don't care if you have your toy at the table, but if you're eating your food, the moment you're not eating your food, your toy is going off the table. I don't care.
That's a perfectly beautiful way to explain that is your yin and your yang. That's a beautiful way to explain it because you cannot have too much of one thing in any relationship or else you fall through, other things fall through the cracks. So that's actually really cool. Yeah. So has he traveled with you on some of these big adventures? Yeah, so he's actually the first time he's gone overseas was with me. So we just came back from Japan not that long ago. Then we went to Bali when Riker was 6 months old together, and I think we've been to Aussie together too. Not too maybe it was just Bali and Japan. He's only travelled with me ever. So like, is he starting to like it more? Yeah, he likes it. He just went on a trip overseas with just a bunch of his guy mates, which was good. Yeah, so he liked it. You've rubbed off on him.
There you go. But then I used to say, it was so funny. I say this to my mum. I was like, he's got like no hobbies, and then I would just be like, I thought that was a bad thing, and then I realized, well, I have hobbies, and I'm not competing for the weekend right now.
That's the worst part about it. It really is. If you're both wanting to do things, then it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, I don't have that fight.
Yeah, Rick's never had that fight before, but now he does, and it's funny. It's really funny. It's not even it's not a fight, but it's like, oh, but I'm already gone that weekend, and it's like,
oh well.
Well, now you're gonna start to have some competition.
Yeah, exactly.
So have you had mentors in your fly fishing journey? Like, do you consider anybody that you've come across a mentor?
I'd only say now that I've in like the last 6 months would I class someone as a mentor as such, as in like the skill Cheyenne Orvis, and if anyone's
a female,
yes, it is a female. If anyone knows that like fly fishing, they'll know that name straight away, I'd say. But I'd say she's a mentor because I've just recently gotten into like my Instagram following went up hugely in like 2 months. And she's been in the industry where she's been an influencer for like 10 years. So she knows the mistakes that you can make right at the beginning. And so she's been giving me a lot of like input on what to do and what not to do. And then if I have a question about a brand, I'll shoot it to her straight away. She'll kind of just guide you through it. And she's like straight cut, which I need straight cut people, not people that sugarcoat things. I'm just like, oh yeah, good. So I'd say she was a mentor, but like I didn't really look up to people fly fishing, but I had a lot of big names because the fly fishing community is actually so small. And like everybody knows everybody's name in a way. So I would, without even knowing, I was hanging out with some of the big names in fly fishing.
Right.
But they were just my friends, right? And then you get into the industry and you're just like, oh, wow, everyone knows your name. Oh, wow, everyone knows your name.
That's so interesting.
Listening
oh my
to
gosh,
podcasts
I'm sorry.
or
I've
seeing
got
them on
my
TV.
I've got my 10-year-old is staring at me through the window and knocking. I'm recording a podcast right now, buddy. In a half hour. Okay, well, you can leave in 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Oh my God. I'm recording, dude. 3-0. So he was the middle child, okay, until we had the baby. So he's my energy seeker is what we call that in a nice way. Child. Yes, he's my energy seeker and my attention getter. He is it's so interesting because he is so much of Rick and I, both of us, so much of us both, that everything he does is irritating, which is so funny because he is exactly us. He is exactly what I was at that age. He's exactly what Rick was at that age. But it's so interesting that we cannot parent that child.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that weird? Yeah. It's like, okay, like this, I'm on a podcast. Well, Rick's obviously locked him outside because he'd done something naughty or woke up the baby or did something. So Rick locked him outside. And now here he is knocking on my window, even though I'm saying I'm recording a podcast episode. And he's like, so like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what is perfect for us to end on with. Thank you for joining me. And what words do you have? Because to share with these women about womanhood, motherhood, you wear all these different hats, right? But that doesn't mean that you stop being the person that you are wanting to be because of these hats, right? Like I'm not going to stop being a mom. My kid's knocking on my window just because I'm a podcaster.
Right? Yeah.
Like I'm not stopping that. It's part of my podcast. It's now part of it. Right. And so what's the advice that you have for these women listening to empower them that's a great way to be?
Oh, I was thinking about this honestly, because like when you hear people on podcasts, they have these like especially fishing, they've got I do this fishing because it saved me or it helps me with my mental clarity and all this kind of stuff. And I never really have a story behind that. And I think it is because I'm raised by a single mum that being a female has never been a thing. It's just like I grew up with boys. I'd say that I particularly liked hanging out with boys more than hanging out with girls when I was younger. But I never seen a disconnect between us two. I never realized that I was any different could do anything different than they could, so like the women movement and all that kind of stuff, or like getting more like they have this background story of it being super hard to get into the industry and how hard it is to struggle to get into the industry, where I maybe have those moments with guys, but it doesn't cement in my brain that it's just like, it'd just be like the same if a woman was coming on saying the same things. Maybe I'd probably be more upset if a woman had said the things than if a man said them, Never really had that disconnect. Plus I learned how to fly fish in Alaska, which is surrounded by badass women, They're just out there doing it. They probably have the same thing as me. Like they're like, what do you mean female, male kind of thing? They're just living life. So I don't know. That's what I would say. I mean, to Rick, I said that if you keep waiting for other people, you're going to be waiting your whole life. It's like you have to do it.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not personally scared of change as much. But I'd say I'm more scared of change as in like committing to getting the house or those
being stuck somewhere.
Yeah, being stuck. Yeah. And that's what I was like. Becoming a mother to me was like, wow, this thing's forever. But now that I have him, I'm like, wow, wicked. This thing is forever.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
When I was thinking about having children, I was like, oh, that sounds like a bit of a commitment.
I'm going to send you the funniest reel on Instagram when we get off this. I'm going to send you the funniest. You're going to die. It's the best.
Oh, man, I've been watching a movie, and I don't know if you guys have it. It's called Wild Robot, because you watch every cartoon
Yeah,
movie.
we love it. Oh, absolutely. We love it so much.
But it's so great because she says things like, that are so real to motherhood.
Yeah. So good. It's so good. It's Rick. I went into his room the other day. I love it that everybody's like, his room. Yeah. He doesn't like to sleep with me and the baby because he's scared he'll squish her, but I co-sleep. But so I went into the room the other day and he was laying there watching it on his phone by himself. I'm like, well, like, where's Locke? And he's like, I don't know, outside. I'm like, what are you watching? He was watching it by himself. I'm like, okay. So yeah, it's a good one. I totally get that. I'm with you on that. And honestly, I love that that's what you're saying is no one else is going to do it for you. If you're not going to do it for yourself, no one else is going to do it for you. I say that all the time with as far as like a cheering section. If you're waiting for someone to cheer you on, you're going to be waiting a long time. I mean, you may have a couple of those people in your life, but guess what? You always have yourself.
Yeah.
You always have yourself to cheer yourself on if that's what you choose to do. So do it.
And you become somebody that people want to cheer on, right? So if you're cheering, you're just doing it for yourself, people are like, oh, they're actually pretty cool. I think that would be what I always strive to be. I always say it to Rika. What you want to be in your life is cool. The moment someone's like, wow, they're really cool, that's like your epiphany. Like, yeah.
Yes, I love that.
Cool.
All right, let's see. Let's see if I have one to end us on. I think I did them all. Okay, here's our last one. This is our lightning round. I'll just throw you this out and we'll wrap it up. Instagram versus reality. What's the biggest lie social media tells about outdoor women?
That we always
we always look good in waders.
So that we always look cute.
Oh, I know what mine would say. I know what I will say because, and it was even at Big Billy Falls. Is that what it's called? Bad Billy Falls? It's there in New Zealand. Something Billy Falls. And we were...
Hillbilly Falls?
I know. Hillbilly Falls? Yeah, that's down south here in America. No, I'll look it up and tell you what it is because I have it. And it was so interesting. This is exactly dead on with Instagram versus reality because while we were there was actually an influencer couple from Utah there. They just had this new little baby. I think they adopted her anyway. And Rick happened to know the sister of this girl. So he happened to know he was following them and they were like hitting spots just before we were, but they were hitting like the Instagrammable spots. So anyway, we hit this same waterfall. And it's so sad because we got out there and Rick went to send up his drone to get video of this and the bugs were just attacking us.
Oh, I mean, down South Island.
Oh, it was awful. And like he had my younger sons, or both of them actually, were slapping the bugs off his legs while he was trying to fly this drone. And it got to the point that he was just like, this is stupid. I'm not even going to be out here. And I was like, I'm out. Like, bye, peace. I'm not even going to stand out here. We later saw their video that they had come after and they had their not even 1-year-old daughter sitting in the rocks next to the falls. And I'm just going, no, they didn't because I saw how thick those bugs were and they were so irritating for us. And they had their baby sitting there and it was like this beautiful reel of this family next to this glacial water and these falls. And I'm just like, you are horrible parents. Like that poor baby probably just got bit 5,000 times and you're making it look like it's just a picnic. So anyway, but what's yours? Sorry, I totally took that. But what's your
I like your
just irritates you that's like Instagram versus no way this is real life?
No. Because I went straight into my mindset because I tried to make my Instagram look so normal. Like
that's what I mean. That's what I try to do too. Like sometimes this is what's behind the scenes.
But no. It's like I try to keep mine as real as possible. And like I guess if people were thinking it was fake, they aren't watching the stories because my stories are so real. It'll be because like we even got like one of me tried to do one of those cutesy. Like me and Rika baking because we used to always bake all the time.
Yeah.
I think at one point I'm like, no, you can't lick that in the video, and then he's just like crying, like devastated, like he lost his favorite toy, but he's like doing something annoying, and then there's me in the background like, well, cheers to that.
Right.
I'm just like, just keep it so real. I feel like it's, but yeah. Cringeworthy.
Do you ever see them? You ever see Instagram profiles of other women out in the outdoors hiking or fly fishing and you just think,
oh, I know what my biggest
there's
cringe.
No way. Yeah, what is
my biggest cringe? It is like when people wear like my biggest cringe is like when people wear swimming togs in like glacial lakes and they're not swimming. You know, those photos where it's like, oh, I'm walking into this nice mountainous lake, alpine lake, in my togs. I'm like, did you go swimming? Like, unless you went swimming, what are we doing here? Like,
What's a tog?
Oh, bathing suit. Swimmers.
Oh, that's a tog.
Yeah, like I'm gonna pull her up, but it's like I just seen one and it was like this lady and she's like at the top, she's in Yosemite and she's at the top of the waterfall and Yosemite and she's in her like one piece bathing suit, like sitting on the edge. Like, now she did not just go swimming in that waterfall.
I know exactly what you're talking about because where was it that I told you all those ills were? Lake Rotorua.
Rotorua? In Sanana?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So we went swimming there. Well, tried.
No.
It was freezing. It was freezing. And every picture you see, I'm going to forward you my picture from there. Every picture you see from that spot, like a whole busload of people, it must be like the Instagrammable spot or something. Whole busload of people got there, got out, but then the bees, I told you, were like so thick. They were all running back onto the bus while we were all just kind of like, hey.
You mean the sandflies, yeah?
They're huge and black, and they stung my son on both ears.
Yeah, they're
fat, like bumblebee fat.
Okay, maybe they're bumblebees.
But anyway, and it was freezing. It was freezing. So like, I'm with you on that.
Those are my biggest cringe. Unless you went swimming, like I want to see that photo of that magic photo, and then I want to see the next photo of you swimming. I don't want to see the next photo of you in your bikini, but it was such a fad back. Like, we were talking Instagram 5-10 years ago. Everyone's taking photos in the bikini in the water. I'm just like,
exactly.
No, exactly. I want evident proof.
I had this cute brand from Oz send me some swimsuits, and I was like, I can't wear the swimsuits the Australians wear. There's no way I'm taking a picture of me in this. And so if they actually sent me one, I did take a picture in it while I was really pregnant, like super huge pregnant. It was adorable in that swimsuit, but they'll never catch any of me in the ones they sent for not pregnant. I was just like,
they're just like no butt.
Yeah, no butt, no boobs. I mean, even though I say it's like I've got like a lot of boob, it's like, boink.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're like, all right, I think you might have sent me the wrong size.
Yeah, I don't think I can wear this. I mean, it's like backwards. I have big boobs and a small rib cage, and you sent me no boobs and a huge rib cage. I don't know what to do with this. Now it's my thong. I don't know. All right. Well, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for figuring out the time and the day difference, because everybody doesn't know it's like Wednesday for me. It's Thursday for you.
Thursday at 11:45.
And it's Wednesday at 4:45. Yeah. So I'm really appreciate you jumping on with me. And I honestly, when we get to New Zealand, I cannot wait to hook up. So just you wait.
Yes, please. And I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you so much. We'll talk soon. I appreciate you.